Ah, yes, it's time for the long awaited anime talk to follow up on Chainsaw Man. I told you guys that I watch anime too, and I will talk about more of it. It just got a little hard. I was supposed to talk about Jujutsu Kaisen. I still will, but it'll take a while to make the video. I still don't quite get it. It'd be a disservice to you, dear viewer, if I talked about it while not really understanding what I saw. I ended up watching season 2 this year too, so now I have to factor in all that information and rethink my words for the original video. It's a long story. Anyway, you're here to hear me talk about a really cool anime called Kyoko Suiri, which we English speakers call Inspector. So let's get to it. We will first talk about the characters and then the show itself. So let's get to it. First up, we have Kodako Iwanaga, the main character of the show. She is the inspector, given the responsibility by the yokai of the world to solve their problems as their goddess of wisdom. She was given this responsibility when she was 11 years old. What the heck would an 11-year-old, sheltered, rich girl know about being wise to the point that she is their goddess of wisdom? That's a good question to ask, isn't it? Well, it beats me. But she lived up to the expectations they set on her. She had to undergo some disfigurement as well, such as removing an eyeball and a leg. She wasn't hurt by the process and had been missing for days, if not weeks, when that was happening. She is headstrong, clever, conniving, calculated, very mature for her age, and a go-getter. She also seems very unfazed by messed up things that happen around her, which is a very admirable trait, to be honest. She starts off as a 16-year-old in present day, if I remember correctly, and in the second season she's around 18, 19, or 20. I don't remember the time skip properly. Her strong position is what got her a boyfriend, Kuro Sakuragawa, who I will talk about now. So, Kuro Sakuragawa. He's the male lead of the show and is a laid-back, kind of docile guy that's just kind of along for the ride with anything. His first girlfriend, Saki Yumihara, apparently was too uptight with him. That's the impression we get when we hear Kodoko's stories about them. He's got an interesting background. His family knew about the existence of yokai and wanted to get dominion over the realm by creating a superior being that is immortal. They fed him all sorts of yokai until he eventually got the power of immortality and the ability to determine the future that he wanted. It's a really weird power set. But then, of course, this is anime. Of course, there's a weird power set. He often just minds his own business and does what is expected or requested of him. Nothing more to it. You can kind of feel bad for him at times, but then since nothing bad happens to him apart from him getting killed in gruesome ways almost every time he faces enemies, you can't really feel bad for him. It's also unclear whether he feels the pain of a normal person when he goes through those injuries or not. He grunts, yes, but maybe because he's been hit, not because of pain. Then comes Rika Sakuragawa, the main antagonist of the show. She is Kuro's cousin and has the same powers as he does. She was kept in his university and was being studied because she wanted to find a way to die. She was subjected to the same experimentation as Kuro. The difference between them is that while he embraced his nature, she tried to destroy herself, and when she got tired of trying to end her life, she resorted to causing chaos and wreaking havoc. She's the main villain of the show, but didn't do much in the second season. It's just that she was never caught in the first one and goes on the run, with both Kuro and Kodako being hot on her trail. They miss her at every turn. She is very clever, cunning, resourceful, and manipulative. The good guys will have a hard time finding her. Even though she's on the yokai's radar as well as Kodako and Kuro's, she still manages to evade them. Third, we have Saki Yumihara, who is Kuro's ex. Kodako is very insecure about her for having been Kuro's girlfriend before her. Saki seems good-natured and kind, as well as considerate, and she is a very average human being. Kodako paints her in a different light though, so we, the audience, have to look through what Kodako sees her as and study her according to what we see her do and hear her say. She seems pretty normal. She harbors no hard feelings towards Kuro for their failed relationship and finds Kodako to be a bit strange in her insecure antics. Kuro gets nervous around her and tries his best to keep things very civil between them, which is part of why Kodako feels so insecure about her in the first place. All in all, she's pretty nice. The rest of the characters in the show are minor characters, so there's nothing really to cover regarding them. Let's talk about the show itself. The show is based on a manga and ran for 2 seasons, running from 2020 until last year. It's still a bit unclear whether there will be a 3rd season or not. It isn't a very long show. Both seasons combined have 24 episodes. The manga was also nominated for Best Shonen Manga at the 42nd Annual Kodansha Manga Award in 2018. Which is weird to me because the way the show is, it doesn't really transmit masculine energy. Why is that a critique, you ask? Because basically shonen material is material in which the target audience is boys. Shoujo is the counterpart of shonen, in which the target audience is girls. Shoujo touches things like magic, romance, and fashion. These things are ever present in the show, and even the music itself isn't hard-hitting like a typical shonen thing. Why was I watching this? Despite all of that, you ask? Well, it's a long story that'll take up a lot of time, so I won't bore you with the details. Plus, it's shonen, so... The name of the show is, in Japanese, is Kyoko Suiri. It sounds nice, but I like how it's stylized in English. Inspector. So, the show plays like a detective show with some superhuman elements to it, and it flows pretty well. Young Kodako is thrust into a world that she has no business being in for someone her age, but it works out well for everyone once she's involved. It is concerning how competent she is at handling the situations. The relationship she has with Kuro is also nice and typical of anime relationships, where the girls are always the ones insisting for love and affection, whereas the guys are just in their own universe most of the time, and only pull through when things get intense. She's the brain and the heart, he's the muscle. They make a good team. The first season was very gripping and the suspense was worked up very well. The method they used to take down Rika's scheme was nothing short of super complex and well thought out. It was very cerebral work. If you don't pay attention to what they're saying, you might get lost in the events. It is such a thing to behold, seeing folks come up with nonsense plans, and it's in a serious settings. I love that about it. The second season didn't have any focus, and it was just Kodako and Kuro solving random cases around the country while going after Kuro's cousin in their spare time. My favorite one was the first story, where a guy was almost killed by his friend and was saved by a yokai who ended up falling for him. It's really nice. He was then blamed for the murder of his ex-wife who cheated on him. He just let her go with no hard feelings and was suspect because of that. The story wasn't concluded, but at least the yokai was allowed to stay with him. Whether they start dating or not is not mentioned, but she was allowed to if he wanted to. And it's left like that. That's pretty cool. The audience creates their own headcanon. The show is well produced, the music is very well placed, and gives us the sense of wonder and love in the air. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but treats serious matters seriously. Many shows don't execute that properly, and it is becoming a problem. That's why we see unnecessary comedy or even a lack of comedy in many shows and movies. Inspector showcased a masterclass in blending the two things, and for that I praise the show. I did find the second season to be a bit of a step down from the first season. If season 1 was given a 90%, I'd give the second season 85%. It's not bad at all, it's still an excellent season, but it's a step down from the first. I still highly recommend the show. Please guys, watch the show. It's really good. I look forward to any future season in order to see just how they're going to catch Rika, or if she's going to regret her actions, or maybe they'll find a way to kill her, and Kuro might be the key to that, or be a victim. Young Kotoko is a very inspiring person. She's forceful but gentle, stern but sensitive. She's a very likable person. Amazing character work was done on her. So if you want to see a female character that kicks butt and has time for development and endearment to the fans, I suggest you watch this show because it is just amazing. Well, guys, again, I ask, please check out the show. It's really good if you just want to watch a simple anime that is entertaining. That's what we're going to leave the video off with, folks. Check out our Facebook page, our Instagram page, and the rest of our channel's videos. We've got some pretty cool stuff going on here. Well, I'll see you around.